Alright, people, midweek report time. So, I think yous all pretty much know where we're going to start with this, don't you? Yeah, Ryan Garcia. Now, I'm probably going to do a video on this whole matter. I know I kind of did my immediate reaction this morning, and that's genuinely what it was. I think I was only awake about 5 minutes when I was like, right, up, record, boom. I'm going to give my 2 cents on it in a kind of slightly more lengthy video, probably tomorrow. I'm going to record it tonight and get it out tomorrow morning at some point. So I'm not going to go in as much in terms of go into depth and what I think will happen and stuff on this matter as I will in tomorrow's video. But for those who didn't know, and maybe there are people clicking on this video who didn't watch any of the videos this morning or see any of the news this morning, basically Ryan Garcia has tested positive for Ostarine, a Nevada drug test taken on the day of, the day before and the day of his win over Devin Haney. Garcia's tests also screened positive for nandrolone, but this result is unconfirmed until lab analysis. Garcia has denied cheating. I believe they're looking for the B sample as well on that. What do you say? What do you say to that, you know? Ryan Garcia came in 3 and a little bit pounds overweight, which is bad enough, right? It's bad enough. It's unprofessional to do that. It's very unprofessional to do that. But this right here is just, and it's just so ironic, and I'll talk about this now in a sec as well, that Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya at the press conference yesterday for the Munguia fight this weekend, which seeing Canelo swearing in English is just something, it's so funny. I know it sounds right, it's so funny seeing him swear in English, but you had Oscar going in on Canelo returning fire. He is not happy with Oscar De La Hoya, to say the least. Not a happy camper. But for De La Hoya to bring up those 2 failed tests from 2018, which I believe was for, was it clenbuterol? I think it was anyway. To bring those 2 up, and then literally hours later, this come. It's just, what would you call that? Poetic justice? Just, what would, whoever acting fast, because that just, you couldn't have made that up. You really couldn't have. In terms of the fight, I'll actually quote Eddie Hearn. Now, obviously, Ryan Garcia is protesting his innocence. The New York Commission will now investigate it with a view of turning the decision to a no contest. Now, I'll talk about that more in a little bit, but the no contest, if in fact Ryan Garcia, and it's in his system, so I mean, how did it get there? If it proves in fact that he has cheated and that he is guilty, well then yeah, I would say turn that to a no contest. I would say absolutely turn that fight over to a no contest. The one thing I will say is that yes, Devin Haney's may return, but he still took a beating in there. How is that going to affect him? In terms of Eddie Hearn feels that it should be changed to a no contest. He said he spoke to Devin Haney last night and he's absolutely furious that he came in 3 pounds overweight and now has PEDs in his system. I can't really blame him. It's look, if you're a fighter and you've done everything, you've done it the right way, you've made the weight, you've passed all the tests, and you kind of think, okay, look, I got beaten by a guy who came in 3 and a bit pounds overweight, and then just to rub salt in the wounds, he fails a bad test. You're just like, that's not a level playing field. Whether you think Devin Haney is clean or not, that's another story. But on the surface, he hasn't failed anything, and say whatever you want to say, he made weight. So that's obviously got to be an absolute for Devin Haney. So if in fact Ryan Garcia is guilty, and we'll see some of the news that comes out on this, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good, to say the least, for Ryan Garcia. If he is, and he was cheating in that fight, which it seems likely he was, then yeah, change that fight to a no contest ASAP. I mean, if you think of it like this, didn't Tony Thompson, didn't he have some issues against David, or was that a different? No, that was Erkin Tepper. Apologies. Some have that as a no contest, some don't. It should have been a no contest regardless, because the guy had half a Columbia in him. But there you go. So let's wait and see the fallout with this. In terms of Canelo Alvarez, let's just talk briefly about him and Munguia before we talk about him and Oscar. Because the fight, in case you don't know, and the press conference could make you believe it was between Canelo and Oscar. No, it is against Canelo and Jaime Munguia. We will be doing a live watch along for that fight. I didn't realise that it's pay-per-view on the zone. I didn't realize that. So, I'm locked in now. Any doubt I had, I'm locked in now. I paid for the pay-per-view, 19 quid, 18.99. So we're doing a live watch along because I paid for the flipping fight, so I'm watching it. So we're definitely doing that. I'll have to get an idea what time the ring walks are at, because I don't want to. For those who don't know, live streaming on YouTube, I know some people have gone long, but you kind of 3 to 3.5 hours is really the sweet spot. If you go over that, it just it won't be recommended in the analytics as much and stuff like that. So you want to keep a live stream, for just anyone looking to start out doing live streams, you kind of want to keep it at 3 hours, the maximum, 3.5, pushing it. And over that, you might have a few issues. So I try and keep it in around that. That's what you'll always see when I do the live watch alongs for the UK fights, or the fights in South, they're UK time. I try and not go over the 3 hour mark. That's why if for like the Day of Reckoning, I think I started at 9 p.m. and people were like, why don't you start earlier? Because I was like, well, there you go. That's exactly the reason why. Same with Fury and Ngannou, which went on late. So I'll try and suss the times out, but I'm looking forward to the fight. Mario Barros versus Fabian Maidana on the undercard. Brandon Figueroa versus Jesse Magdaleno. What has Magdaleno done the last few years? He lost to Raymond Ford last year, and then he lost to Dogbase 6 years ago, and he's done very little. How old is Magdaleno? Doesn't have his age listed there, but he can't be. He can't be an old fighter. He definitely isn't. But he was a world champion for a year, and then just gone. He beat Nonito Donaire for that title on the undercard of Pacquiao Vargas. So it's crazy. Stanionis, I like Stanionis. He's a good fighter. So the undercard, it's not stacked, but they never really are with Canelo Alvarez undercards. To be fair, they never really are. Now, Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya, he called them a lot of effing names. I'm going to use the word. And an effing a-hole, an effing MF. Yeah, he is not happy with Oscar De La Hoya. De La Hoya basically was insinuating that he made Canelo Alvarez a star, not Canelo, not the other way around. I think Canelo could have been with any promoter and he would have been a star. I truthfully do believe that. And Oscar De La Hoya, he was straight away, flogging it in Eddie Hearn's face when Ryan Garcia beat Tank, or when Ryan Garcia didn't beat Tank Davis, when Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney, and now he's got this. And I'll quote Ryan Garcia, he said, "The facts are the facts. All I know is that he failed tests. It's defamation to say I stole money. It's very serious. That's defamation. And you know what? I have something coming for him." He did have something coming for him. Ammo for Canelo to use on Oscar De La Hoya. That's what he had coming for him. Because Canelo Alvarez, I'm sure, is having a field day over this. Or will, when they see each other, have a field day over this. He is gonna absolutely have he's gonna be in cloud 9 when he saw that story break, I would imagine. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Now, this literally, you're on X and you refresh it. This literally from First Take Fight, 22 seconds ago. Canelo Alvarez asked if he'll fight Dave Benavidez next after Munguia. I can read the first sentence. If the money is correct, why not? Well, he is your mandatory at 168 pounds. So, if the money is, if it's called, if you don't want to fight, vacate it. Why not? I can fight him on Saturday night too. Of course I'll beat that guy. If the money is correct, I'll beat that guy the same night. If the money is correct. What do you mean if the money is correct? He's your mandatory. Canelo Alvarez is always going to get big paydays. He's always getting big paydays. How much more of a big payday do you need to fight Dave Benavidez? And he is still your mandatory at 168 pounds. So if Sullivan, I giggle, if Sullivan, he won't do anything. But let's just say he actually grew a set and actually decided to run his organization like a proper sanctioning body, like the IBF and WBO do, and enforce mandatories, called them, stuff like that. What would happen? If you have the titles, you have a responsibility. Whether you're Alvarez, whether you're Fury, because someone would say, well, Canelo has earned No, he is still champion. If Canelo wasn't champion and then he said, look, I could fight Dave Benavidez, but I'd rather fight this guy, it's like, well, Benavidez, at the end of the day, Benavidez is mandatory for WBC and such has that. Canelo doesn't. Canelo he's not in that picture. He's not holding the division up. He's not holding unifications up. Fair enough, go do what you want. you're a champion. It's different. In terms of the Sky card that's coming up now on June the 15th, there's very few boxer shows coming up. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But he has a show, Ben Shalom, next week or the week after. I think that's going up against Denzel Bentley. And yeah, I'll be watching that Denzel Bentley card every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. But he has that. He has the Code promotion show with Lawrence Okoli headlining in Poland. And then he has this show in June, which is Billum Smith versus Reactball, which is shaping up to be a good card, to be fair. I think Shalom seems to be doing more quality over quantity now, because this is genuinely a good card. Reactball, Billum Smith, I'm interested in the rematch. Chamberlain versus Seslak, I'm very keen in seeing that fight, definitely. It's a good fight, really good fight actually. And then Ben Whittaker versus this Ezra Ardieka. I think it's how you say that, guys. Wasn't he the guy who crashed the press conference? And now they're fighting. Okay. Listen, I like Ben Whittaker. I like watching Ben Whittaker. I think he's very talented. The showboating can be a little bit... And I think, listen, his last fight, he did not look amazing. And that's a fair assessment. He didn't look amazing. But he definitely... I think it was a combination of that guy he fought being better than we thought and really coming to win. He needs a trainer. He didn't have a trainer in the corner. He did have a trainer, but not his regular trainer in Sugar Hill. He's on the look for a new trainer, and that guy was just kind of there. He needs someone to actually get him into have a proper camp, proper shape, and then we'll see a better Ben Whittaker. That's what I think. Anthony Joshua leaving a comment. Yeah, I seen that. That's crap. That's crap. Francis Ngannou, his 15-month-year-old son, he's only 1 year, tragically passed away a few days ago. Anthony Joshua says, may the memories you shared be your comfort. You know, you hate seeing that. You hate seeing a story like that. 15-month boy, little boy. Heart goes out to Francis Ngannou, that's all. And I'm sure I speak for everyone when they say the same. Heart goes out to Francis Ngannou on that one. Really does. That's rough. It's crap. It's absolutely crap. I hope he's okay. So that is Joshua. This one, we're on about the Saudis, so let's talk about the Saudis. So the Saudis are looking to do Deontay Wilder versus Jared Anderson on August the 3rd in LA on the Crawford-Majamov undercard. Elephant in the living room, Crawford's not fighting before that. Elephant in the living room, Wilder has a fight with Zhilei Zhang lined up on June the 1st, which is no foregone conclusion, and you're talking about the possibility of him fighting Jared Anderson 2 months later, all the while Joshua is going to be making a return to the ring in September in Wembley. I mean, I'm not a matchmaker, but if Wilder wins, I wouldn't be beat Zhilei Zhang, I wouldn't be looking at Jared Anderson. I'd be thinking, oh, baby, yes, Wilder Joshua, Wembley Stadium, there you go. That's what I'd be doing. And that's why I'm speculating Turki Al-Sheikh, or Sheikh, whatever way you pronounce it, doesn't have a lot of faith in Deontay Wilder. And he probably expects him to lose against Zhilei Zhang and then to put him one last fight against Jared Anderson, and Jared Anderson would probably win. You'd probably make Anderson favourite, to be fair, over Wilder at this point. And then Wilder can sail off into the sunset, and he has then a new up-and-coming American star in the heavyweight division. That's all I can really think about. That's all I think of. I can't really look at it any other way than that. Because Wilder, you know, Turki Al-Sheikh wanted to do Wilder versus Joshua, and the whole purpose of the Day of Reckoning, well, that was meant to be Usyk Fury. They had the date planned, and then they needed something to fill it, so they did Day of Reckoning, which is brilliant. But the whole point of that is that Joshua win, Wilder win, they fight in March. Joshua won, Wilder didn't. And then not only that he didn't win, it's not like he made a mistake and he got caught with something, or, you know, it was a controversial decision. He didn't turn up. He turned up without turning up. And I'm sure he's looking, thinking, oh God, I don't want another one of them. I need a star from America, or a future star from America who I know I can actually have some miles in and I can actually do something with. That's my thought process behind this, because I just think it's such a random fight to talk about. Especially if, you know, Wilder hasn't fought Zhilei Zhang yet, he might win. And then what? This is a random fight too, but random in a bad way. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul on July the 20th in Texas. will now officially be sanctioned as a professional fight. Yes. Ugh. It's going to go on both guys' pro records. Ugh. No head guard, 8 2-minute rounds, knockouts allowed, 14-ounce gloves. Results will go to a scorecards officially sanctioned bout. So, Mike Tyson lost his last 2 professional fights. Danny Williams and Kevin McBride. 20 years ago, as near as makes no difference to Kevin McBride. I'm not sure if that was 05 or 06. It was one or the other. Kevin McBride would be a journeyman in any era. He was in a very weak era, so he was maybe a little bit more highly touted, but he was never that good. Today, he'd be a complete journeyman. Just a complete journeyman. He beat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's nearly 60. And he's fighting Jake Paul as a sanctioned bout. I don't like it. It just doesn't sit right with me. It just does not sit right with me. I suspect Tyson's going to lose. Whether he loses by knockout or not, I don't know. 14-ounce gloves they're not like wearing a 20-ounce glove in sparring. But I've worn 14-ounce gloves aplenty, and you'll hurt people in them. You can still hurt people in 14-ounce gloves. They're bigger than 10-ounce gloves, but they're not crazy big. And depending on the brand, Mexican Everlast 14-ounce gloves, I mean, you're going to hurt someone in those. Certainly. So, yeah. That's just... Why? It's just like, why? Why are you going to sanction that as a... The Texas commissions seem to be those type of guys where they just kind of don't care. It's just one of those where it's just like, I just don't care. We'll just sanction it. You failed a few drugs tests. Okay, Grant, come on. Well, come on in. You're 60 years old and you want us to sanction your bout? Oh, we will do that. There's some states and some places, like the British Boxing Board, will be very strict on certain things. And that's a good thing in a sense. Some people would say, well, why are they strict? Well, they're strict because they want to make sure that the fighters are safe. So if there's any issues with, scans, no-go, if there's any issues with tests, I know they try to, for the most part, but they'd be strict on certain things like that. You look at someone like Danny Williams, he can't get a license. That's a good thing, by the way, with the British Boxing Board. That's a good thing. No one wants to see him fight. But he can go to somewhere like Lafayette and get a license there. It's just like, oh, come on, And Texas seems to be kind of in that kind of, all are welcome. Have you ever boxed before? Well, I'm blind in this eye and, I've half an arm hanging off. Oh, look, we'll give you a license. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, you got knocked out. Ah, well, sorry about that. That's kind of what they're like. Let's have a look-see on the boxing scene before we finish up. Daniel Dubois aims to go through Hrgovic like a hot knife goes through butter. I don't think he will. He might win, but I don't think he'll go through him like that. I don't think anyone could go through Hrgovic like that. I think even though I'd pick someone like Anthony Joshua over Hrgovic, I would expect Anthony Joshua to have a long fight. Maybe not a necessarily tough fight, but a long one. Hrgovic is tough. Ryan Garcia protests his innocence following failed drugs test. They always do. What else do we have? Liam Smith in discussion to fight Conor Benn. That Liam Smith who turned up against Eubank in the rematch looked shocking. I can't envision him just growing old overnight like that. Maybe there was other factors between Eubank looking a lot better, but I don't know. Him against Ben, 154. I'd watch it. Yeah, why not? Why not? Chantel Cameron parts ways with Matchroom. I'm sure Eddie Hearn is about as devastated as he was the day his goldfish died. What else? Klimas believes Fury Usyk will be determined by mental strength. Interesting take. Usyk definitely can. He can match Tyson Fury with the mind games. He absolutely can. What else is there? Teddy Atlas on Munguia versus Canelo. Recipe for a good fight. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a very good fight. I think that's going to be an excellent fight. Riakporhe vows to shatter Billum Smith. I'd make him favourite. I would. The only thing you would say is that, yes, I would make him favourite, but the competition hasn't been good. Whereas at least at Billum Smith, he hasn't looked as impressive, but the competition's been better. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Do you want the guy who's fighting the kind of faded talent and getting rid of them in good fashion? Do you want to fight the guy who's fighting the better talent and, struggling, but to be expected to an extent anyway. What else do we have? Jayapataya, Myris Briedis had his time. This is my time. Yeah, well, it'd be nearly 2 years since Briedis had a fight, so I would make Jayapataya a firm favourite. At least he's been active. He's not been going long in fights, the last 2 fights, but yet he's been in the ring active, so that's going to stand him in good stead. Myris Briedis ain't getting any younger, so God only knows what way he's going to be in terms of just physics. You might get deteriorate. In 2 years, you could deteriorate a lot, especially if you've not been active. So that's pretty much the news in a nutshell. I will leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. I might even premiere this for a change. So, but I haven't done a premiere in one of these in a while. I will try and do a live maybe over the weekend at some point, as well as the watch along, obviously, but like a live, just let's have a chat kind of one if I have time. We'll see how that works. But for now, I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button if you could. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Peace.